The gap between what AI can theoretically do and what AI is actually doing is enormous. But it gets even worse for the CEO narrative. Anthropic's own researchers, Masanov and Makary, looked at the unemployment data for workers in the most AI-exposed occupations. And what they found was that AI has not increased unemployment in those jobs after 2+ years. The effect, they wrote, was indistinguishable from zero. Those are their words, not mine. Their own research team, contradicting their own CEO in the same year. They did find one real signal, that hiring of 22 to 25-year-olds has slowed in the most exposed occupations. If you're a junior trying to break in, this is genuinely harder, and it's a point I will come back to later. But entry-level hiring has slowed is a completely different claim than all white-collar jobs are gone in 18 months. And it's not just Anthropic. MIT's Project Nanda found that 95% of enterprise Gen AI deployments show no measurable ROI, $30 to $40 billion spent, only about 5% reach real production. And here's the irony. Dario Amodei, so the same man who originally said to anyone who would listen that AI would wipe out half of all entry-level white-collar jobs by May 2026, is already reframing. He's starting to talk about the Jevons paradox, the same mechanism I just explained. He's walking it back. So we have 3 physical walls, 2 economic fallacies, and the AI is getting more efficient arguments as opposed to save it all, just makes the problem worse by leading to an increased energy use. The engineering verdict is clear. The timeline is impossible. But here's the question I keep coming back to, and it's a very confusing one. If the engineering is this obviously wrong, why are the CEOs saying it? These are smart people after all. They have armies of engineers who can do the exact math I just did. They know about turbine lead times and interconnection queues and cooling loads. So why the 18 months claim? Let me be clear about what I think is really going on here. Fear is the product, and it's working exactly as designed. Think about it. Dario Amodei says AI could wipe out half of all entry white-collar jobs. What happens next? Anthropic raises $1 billion. Sam Altman says most jobs will be automated within a decade. OpenAI's valuation climbs. Zuckerberg says AI agents will do the work of mid-level engineers. Meta's AI capex gets justified. There are 4 separate payoffs here, and I want you to see all of them. First, fear funds the capex raise. The scarier AI sounds, the more capital flows in. $1 billion for Anthropic, tens of billions for the hyperscalers. Nobody writes a check that big for a tool that's kind of helpful. Second, it covers layoffs that are already planned. Because if you're a tech company that overhired during the pandemic and you need to cut headcount, AI can do the job now is a much better headline than, hey guys, we made a strategic error and we're firing you to protect our margins. Third, it suppresses wages. If you're a junior analyst and you believe an AI agent is about to take your job, you don't ask for a raise. Heck, you don't even negotiate. You are grateful to be employed. The threat of replacement is cheaper than the replacement itself. And fourth, and this is the one that perhaps I don't really see being talked about, it lifts the multiple. AI company valuations are priced on the expectation of transformative displacement. The more jobs AI is supposed to eliminate, the bigger the total addressable market, the higher the multiple, the richer the founders. The narrative is the valuation. And so I have to give it to them. The narrative is working. It's just not working for me and for you. It's working on your wages, it's working on your energy bill, it's working on your pension. You are paying for the power plants that the thermodynamics says they can't build fast enough. And now, I want to be fair because there's a serious case for the defense and I'm not going to dodge it. I'm not telling you AI won't change anything because it will. I'm not telling you that no one loses their job. They will. The real signal in the data, and this comes from Anthropic's own labor market research, is that hiring of 22 to 25-year-olds has slowed in the most AI-exposed occupations. Tech entry-level hiring is down 30 to 50% in 2025. Roughly 55,000 of US layoffs have been attributed to AI. Banks are cutting analyst roles. That is real. If you are a junior, if you're trying to break in, this is genuinely harder than it was 2 years ago. And I'm not going to pretend that it isn't happening. But hiring has slowed for some entry-level roles is a completely different claim then all white-collar jobs will be gone in 18 months. And let me answer the bad faith objection before it arrives. That I'm claiming to know what CEOs really think. I'm not. I don't need to read anyone's mind. I am looking at structural incentives. Because if you are the CEO of an AI company, a terrifying narrative about job displacement directly increases your valuation, your fundraising, and your pricing power. You don't need to be acting in bad faith to benefit from a story that happens to make you richer. The incentive is enough. Now, let me be honest here. There are wild cards, because if someone invents a fundamentally new AI architecture, something completely different that doesn't scale the same way against GPUs, well, that changes everything, and that's something I can't predict. Small modular reactors perhaps could accelerate grid capacity. Power breakthroughs can collapse the generation constraints that I've basically built half of my argument in this video on. Any of those will change the math. Could they arrive in time for the 18-month timeline? Well, I think it's improbable, but I could be wrong. And here's how you know if I am wrong. Don't watch the press releases. Don't watch the podcast appearances. Instead, watch the interconnection queues. Watch the turbine order books. Watch the water permits. If those numbers start dropping, so if grid connection times fall from say 5 years to 1, or if turbine lead times half, if data water center permits are being approved faster than they are filed, then the physical constraints are loosening and the timeline might be real. Until then, well, there's just no way around thermodynamics, I'm afraid. So, I want to leave you with two things that are both true at the same time. AI is real and it's genuinely transformative. It will change how people work, what work gets done, and who does it. That's not in dispute. I'm not a Luddite and I'm not in denial. And the 18-month total replacement story, the ones that the CEOs are selling on podcasts and at conferences, is a narrative that's carefully built to move capital, discipline workers, and lift their company share price. Believing the first one does not require you to fall for the second. You see, the reason I made this whole long nerdy video is that the fear only works while it stays abstract. The moment you make it physical, so the moment you ask where the power comes from and when it arrives, the entire narrative and the timeline falls apart in your hands. And so here's the thing I want you to keep. The next time someone tells you a job category is dead, whether it's engineers, analysts, lawyers, anyone, ask the one question that they can't fake. Where the power is coming from and when does it land? If they can't answer that question, then they're just selling you a feeling and not describing the future of the workforce. If this video gave you a sharper way to think, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more detailed breakdowns like this from an engineer's perspective, do subscribe. I'm out.